They're broken down and defeated, deterred and chained, busy and confused, sleeping. You're dying while I wait you to get started on the journey chosen, wasted, now it's selected. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile. Sober, sad and jaded. They're not coming, they're broken down and defeated. You are dying while I wait you to get started. You are dying while I wait you to get started. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky, yeah. Crush me in my smile. I was so bad, what happened? Fall out of the sky and crush me in my smile.
I'm a motherfucking unicorn, a one-of-one. The vibe being the love and light, then light and one. My karma isn't just stellar, I live by truth. Fighting evil, my scars are living proof. Protecting you from the storms with all my might. Love me, I will treat you right. You ever cross me, it's the last thing you'll ever do. With my crown of thorns, I'll wreck you. I ain't playing, yo, Bryan hard, call me a saint. Too bad Chris, because Bigfoot knows my name. I'm a messenger of God, with loyalty I serve, taking out all evil with his holy word. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand, slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC, so listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. A true Knights Templar, sword in hand, slice you up, bury you in the sand. I'm a motherfucking unicorn, you'll never find anyone like me. Born in the Bronx, raised in NYC, so listen up, take heed. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Crossing Realms Conference is coming this September 19th and 20th to the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. Tickets to this landmark event are on sale right now at Eventbrite. The powerful speaker lineup will cover topics from Bigfoot, UFOs, and aliens, so you will not want to miss attending this amazing two-day inaugural event. Again, that's the Crossing Realms Conference, this September 19th and 20th at the Eagleton Civic Center in Richmond, Missouri. Please mark your calendar and get your tickets before they vanish. Space is limited.
Holy Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the other evil spirits who prowl through the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen and amen.
Hello. Welcome. Bienvenue. Welcome. Come on in. Wiedersehen. Welcome to Third Eye Live. I'm your host, Bryan and Bowden. Bryan for short. Um, we have a very interesting show tonight. We're doing a combination thing with our guest. Our guest is the one and only Mark Eddy, who does co-host a lot of the time here on Third Eye Live. I apologize. I'm being stalked and attacked by an Australian Labradoodle. He looks like a mop, but he's attacking me. Hey, Jen, welcome here. Hi, John. Hi, Mark Eddy. Mark Eddy's in the chat. Gemini Moon, welcome. Evening. This is going to be a great, great show. We're going to do a lot of things. We're going to talk with Mark. Mark has some interesting stuff to bring up. A couple of good publications. Very knowledgeable. More than very knowledgeable. He's a wonderful human being as well. He does a lot of production work. He's basically a producer for multiple shows that are out there. A lot of your favorite podcasts have Mark Eddy involved, which is great. And we're going to get to him in a minute. This is the 4th of July weekend, so I want everybody to come back with all their digits. Don't play around too much with the fireworks, folks. Oh, and your eyes. Keep those intact as well. Enjoy the 4th of July. Stay a little bit of frosty. There's a lot of rumors and chatter going around, and I want everybody to be safe and secure. I will be celebrating that day because I was born on that day. So now you know I'm a firecracker and a lank unicorn. But speaking of fun times and celebrating and helping and doing good things, something that is very important to me, I'm going to be there doing presentations and hugs at the Crossing Realms Conference. You can get your tickets right now on Eventbrite. Go there, get them. They're selling really, really fast. There's a ghost hunt. There's going to be a gallery reading. All your favorite paranormal and YouTube celebrities will be there, or para celebrities, however they do it. Thank you, Gemini. I do appreciate it. Yes, I'm a firecracker, and my older brother, 5 years older, is he's July 3rd, and my mother had the audacity to say, I held out. I know enough about birth that when women are giving birth, they're not holding out. You're coming, and that's it. There's no holding on or holding out whatsoever. We're going to bring in Mark in a second. He's sending me messages right now. There you go. Happy birthday to son of Straw Dog. Yeah, I was born in the morning too. So I have a specific time. I have it all on my birth certificate. But something that I'll be doing at the Crossing Realms Conference, besides giving a presentation on probably Bigfoot, Dogman, aliens, and some other stuff, is we're going to be I'm going to be talking about something I'm going to be doing there for everybody, and that's called hugs, free hugs. That's it. We're going to do hugs. So I did a presentation, and it's really important. Hey, David from NYC. It's good to see you, buddy. Last week I had 2 blondes. Now we have 2 boobs. Pretty much the same case. It's right there. But this is something I put together, and I really do believe that it's important and to understand that when you give hugs, There's a lot of power behind it. So let's take a listen to this, and then we're going to bring Mark Eddy on. I was just under the impression that there's no audio, which is great. That's just wonderful. That's why I want to go back to my dirty southern home, but not before we bring our guest on. Mark Eddy is one of those rare combinations of individuals, a passionate professional researcher, tireless podcast host, and networker with top notch writers, and above all, one of the kindest, funniest people you'll ever meet. Whether it's Mothman or lake lizards, Linton and Leverett, Mark's love for the Ohio Valley shines through all his work, most especially in his one of his latest books. But we're going to be talking about a couple different books with Mark Eddy. So let's bring Mr. Wonderful on. Mark Eddy, welcome to the broadcast. I can't believe, what's up, Woo? I can't believe that the audio didn't come through. I don't know. JV saying no audio, which is really weird, but well, we'll see what happens. I don't want to keep playing it. It's pretty loud on my end. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm fine. Thanks for having me on your show, Tucker.
No problem, Mark. It's good to know that you're here, and he's wearing, clothing tonight. So
Yep.
I'm going to put your banner up so people can understand where they can go find a lot of your stuff tonight. When we discussed this, I said this to you a long time ago because I know that you are an author, and actually you've helped author several books, if I'm correct. You've been implementing a lot of what Mark Eddy does, your research into a bunch of people, but I think your latest book is something. It sounds pretty interesting, and maybe we can start. Hungry Old Critters is the latest
Oh,
book.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
have a copy of that? You can.
Yeah. Here's
Hey, Kurt.
here's my latest book.
That's awesome. Did you hire a professional artist or a niece or a nephew?
No, I did this.
Oh, you did the artwork?
My own
Oh,
illustrations.
okay, this is great. How long is it?
What? It depends on who you ask. Some say it's 13 inches, but the book's usually about what 8 by 11.
8 by 11, not 13 inches, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's good. So we're gonna get a first-hand reading of Hungry Critters.
Yeah.
That's
Hungry
great.
old critters.
Hungry old critters. I thought it was just hungry critters. My bad. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, hit us. Let's go. Let's hear the latest.
Okay. Here. Okay. You ready, Mr. Rogan?
Yeah, I'm actually. It's funny you're saying that. I'm using the Nutro product.
Oh, you're
Nutro, the
cool.
energy mints, and I like them.
Cool.
They're pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. Here
go
we
ahead.
go.
Hit us.
A long time ago, big lizard critters got hungry and ate prehistoric people. See, you have an example
It's
over
eating up.
here. He's missing his arm,
Do you think
and
Filthy would be, upset that you're kind of like stepping in on that end of the spectrum?
well, if Filth or Dave are tuned in, maybe Filth would be honored that I'm imitating him. Dave may want to hire me as like a backup if Phil takes a vacation. We can have a Filth off, see who could be like the main artist for Dave.
I guess Filth could, substitute you in for the into the program
Hmm.
and get you going.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm freaking loud now, apparently, Dave says. Sorry, I'm always been loud. You've known me since I'm like 5. So yeah, I'm loud. But it's an interesting. That's it. It's just
Well,
dinosaurs eating people.
yeah. Then it the end. It's and you have examples of sea critters that can eat people. You have like saber-toothed tigers chasing like the cavemen, and then on the back, so you have mastodons that can stab you, and then you get the dimetrodons, more lizard kind of creatures that are out there.
Is
But
there a target audience for this?
um, it's probably more of like a child's introductory to like the evolution of critters.
Well, Harlan says, is that what Mark wrote as a kid? But no, this
No,
is his
no, no.
latest.
This is my latest book. This was printed just today. So
And there you go.
this is
Is it
like the latest.
is it available on Amazon?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm sure there's going to be a big demand. From the science teachers.
Well,
But I haven't. Just due to the prep work. You can add it to.
yeah, Mark has a
Like,
bunch of books on Amazon. You just go look up Mark Eddy, MarkEddy, and you will find. Hopefully, maybe that's a Kindle book. Would that be better as a Kindle book?
yeah, it might be.
See, you're getting it. You're a cool artist, Mark. Look at that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the hairy people are give me and the moral support to keep going on with my artistry.
You know,
If Dave could just
he should totally hire you.
you know
Uh,
just as a stand because no one can top filth, but
no,
I'd be glad to just be a backup.
I think you should be a backup for filth. Are
Hmm.
you? What's your medium going to be? Like crayons
Yeah, crayon.
or
See,
crayons?
I have them right here.
That's cool. And they're 48. Do you remember the 64s with the pencil eraser? I mean
Hmm.
the sharpener
Yeah,
or
this
the
yeah.
crayon sharpener?
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have. May
I
have
don't
to
think
get.
that has that. I think it's only the
Uh,
64.
but
Um,
yeah,
it's
this is some of my new art supplies that where I'm going to be I use for this, and I'll be using them for more of the artwork I do.
it's. I just got a message for my buddy Dave that said, "Are you sure he didn't plagiarize it?" I think I'm pretty sure Mark didn't plagiarize the book that he just showed us, his latest book.
Uh,
Um,
uh, no,
and yeah,
that's all original.
there you go. I mean, okie dokie. um, where
Okay.
is it available? Can we get a copy of it, or
Yeah, I'm working on which of the bookstore chains I would want to carry it on. I'll be calling them after
we're not
the
sponsored
show.
by Bucky's, but maybe you can get it in Bucky's. And this is a special Bucky's. It's the 4th of July Bucky's.
Oh,
So
okay, I can put them on my list to call.
yeah,
But
I mean, I think
uh,
it's a good idea. I
but
mean, how many times do you get to be in like Bucky's? I don't know if you've ever been to Bucky's.
I've never been to one. It's not that I'm have anything against them. It's just I've they are that store chain is not in my area. There's actually probably
That's not a problem.
even
They'll eventually be there.
no. Um,
They'll
yeah.
eventually be in your area. I promise you. They just opened up in Virginia, first store
Okay.
in Virginia,
They're
and people
they're
were
making.
waiting outside for like a couple of nights to get into it. Which is, I mean, Bucky's is great. Don't get me wrong. You'll be really blown away that it's a gas station,
Okay.
but it's like
Well,
180,000 square feet gas station.
okay.
It's good to see Barbara here as well.
It sounds like
John
they
says
are.
he wants a signed copy. Mark will send John a signed copy. I think we're gonna send that off to John um, as soon as we can get a copy of ourselves. Um, yep,
Okay. But
it's
yeah, that's yeah, my latest book, read it to the audience.
yeah.
Kaylee, I think that I don't know how much more there is to discuss it. So
Okay.
I just want to thank you for having me on the show, and I'll see you next week with the guest, interesting guest that you'll be getting.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, so thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Mark. Yeah, that would be a free. I don't know where Mark just went. Um, I have no idea. He just up and left. Hold on. Um, he's on the phone. Hold on 1 second. Hello?
Hi, Clay and Bach. Thanks a lot for having me as a guest. I appreciate you helping me. My latest publication.
Mark? we're doing an interview right now. It's still going on. Where'd you go? Yeah. You may want to come back.
Oh, okay, dude. I hope the audience didn't.
Yeah, but we got another book to talk about, and then we're going to take questions from the audience, and people can come on. Can you come back? No problem. Thanks. Okay. All right. All right. Bye. That's the first time I've ever had anything like that happen to me. I've had guests that just like pulling teeth. Um, I don't know if we need to get to the can. It sounded like we thought we were done, but we're not. No, I don't. He's hiding behind his desk right now. Mark has always been, he's shy. Um, he's very very shy, and for someone, I'm just. Are you back? Can you come back to the show? Hold on. Let me see if you're I'll unmute you right now. Hopefully you're back.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're still doing the show. You're the
I'm sorry,
guest.
Harris. I think I need a hug.
You know what? Everybody needs a hug. Come to the Crossing Realms conference.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, apparently this has happened before. Yeah, I've had people where it was like clearly pulling teeth, but with Mark, I don't know. Normally he's very attentive. Besides that other book, I know there's another new book. Can we talk about it?
Oh, oh,
I'm gonna bring it up.
that
That's
yeah,
Lakes, Lizards, Linton
I
and
thought.
Leverett.
Oh, you know. So Brian, I thought this was the one you want to talk about the whole time. I just didn't realize
Oh,
you want to see the rough draft of the new one. But yeah, this is.
the new one's interesting. I can't wait to get my own autographed copy. I may be getting it in a couple of weeks in Gettysburg if I can get over to your neck of the woods.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What do you want to talk about with the Lakes, Lizards, Linton
So
and Leverett?
so why this actual book? What's so important about the research that you put it into a couple hundred pages, and how did you get about? How did this idea, or what's the origin story of the book? And talking about the Ohio River drainage and what they found.
Okay.
I'm gonna remove that, and we'll get back to this.
There,
Yes.
okay. See, there's my friend Dr. Cheryl Clausen's
Yes.
book. From I think it's 2010, came out in 2010, and had a chance to meet her. She autographed it
I love
for me
autograph books from the author.
in I was May 20th, 2016. So anyhow, here in the appendix, she has all the like categories of cultural traits of the archaic people found in different river valleys. Okay,
Right. Are we
yeah.
specifically talking a specific end of the U.S., like the
Oh,
eastern seaboard area, or
like the eastern United States. And she's looking at the Tennessee River Valley, Green River Valley, and central Kentucky, the Wabash on the Illinois-Indiana border, and so for a lot of the river valleys, a lot of the kind of awkward looking, but they're filled
right?
out.
Yep.
Okay, when she gets over to one sample from the Upper Ohio River Valley, and we turn the page, and there are like four more. The charts are basically empty.
So they didn't even bother with the Upper Ohio River Valley?
There's just not a whole lot reported, and
Isn't that pretty strange to do that? I mean, one of the things that really bugged me in regards to the research, it's not the research. Mark does a great job in this book, and he literally documents with photographs, giving supported evidence to specific areas in the Upper Ohio River Valley. But why not the? Why does it have to be the Upper Ohio River Valley? Why can't it reference directly West Virginia? Because basically, you're putting West Virginia back on the map with this one.
yeah, so sometimes there's maybe a mound right across the river in Ohio.
Right.
Maybe there was a cultural connection. So it's kind of like looking at West Virginia's northern panhandle, but could the person in the burial mound in Ohio, right across the river in Ohio, be, like the chief's son?
So
And
in their research, they just disregarded anything West Virginia, and they went to west from there.
we're just kind of bit been largely ignored, and obviously people know where there were some shell mounds, but the documentation of what was found there was not turned into the appropriate museums. So we have an idea of where places are located, but we don't know what the contents were. Was it human burials? Were animals buried with the person? We just don't really know, and that's where Cheryl said when I was talking to her about that as a possible project, and that was kind of like when she said, "One, since you live so close to like the Grave Creek Mound, why don't you just start doing some research there, see if they're getting publications coming in."
Well, that's the whole thing. You are very close to Grave Creek Mound, and it
Mhm.
seems like besides the mounds, everything else West Virginia is disregarded.
It's just uh, the area really isn't really attracting researcher.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's just
Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee just said Smithsonian needs to open the vaults. Do you think if they opened the vaults, the Smithsonian, West Virginia would play more of a pivotal role in that Ohio River Valley? Maybe they would say the West Virginia River Valley.
well, the Smithsonian did the excavations in the 1880s,
Yeah,
and they have stuff from the state. Most of the mounds are gone, uh, but if you want to see what was found in the catacomb mound and the Great Smith Mound, it is at the Smithsonian.
right.
But there's just uh, where I am in the northern panhandle, there's just not uh, there are important mounds, but they've pretty much been excavated, and And I think there's a lot of conservancy. I don't see a whole lot more being excavated. The mounds are pretty much preserved.
So no one's allowed to go into the mounds anymore
I don't think
or
you can dig unless it's really
sanctioned by the state or
yeah, so, something like that. You know, you need to have a really good reason. So that was because there hasn't been a whole lot of documentation recently turned in. Um, it- we don't have a really good understanding of different, just say the archaic time period, and that's where I was. Cheryl wanted me to talk with like the county historical societies, and I did that, and I sent her a rough draft, and she's like, "Oh, okay, this isn't too bad." You get a college anthropology professor,
right.
critiquing me. Okay, this is pretty good. You don't need this. Move this section uh, later. Move this section earlier. Okay, that's what you do during a rough draft.
Right.
That then as we kept talking about just kind of completing the original project. She gave me more uh things to look into, and that's going to be parts 2 and 3. And as I started researching for those, there was more of a story um that sets up um some of the later animals and what the people were doing at the same time. So that's going to
Right.
be uh, more parts of the series. The uh, this book is part 1, and I'm looking more at some of the causes that get us to the um, like megafauna later,
So
millions of years later.
right. Right, because like I think the area, according to your research and in the book that I've read, it was basically a giant glacier
Yeah,
that came
uh,
down and became an ocean almost, right? I mean,
yeah,
if I'm correct,
yeah, 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 you get the inland sea and you know a huge swamp. You get uh the rivers, like the Ohio. The main river that drained West Virginia was the Monongahela River that now flows north. And if you remember, like back in the 70s, watching Monday Night Football.
right,
Um, you get the Goodyear blimp flying overhead, and Howard Cosell talks about, well, bottom of your screen you get the Monongahela River flowing north, and at the top of your screen you get the Allegheny River coming down, and where the Three River Stadium is like the start of the Ohio River. It's going to be making its way. You know, ge- you know, generally in a southwestern direction, and it's going to end up, we'll be following it next week at the Superdome with the Saints. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of the viewers remember Howard's descriptions. That's basically the area I'm talking about. But
right,
the main when Howard's talking about the Monongahela River flowing like out of the bottom of your TV, so it did flow north, and it still does. Uh, the Ohio River used to flow north as well, and they would have their um, drainage in like what's now Lake Erie. And
So
so like what I'm doing in this book is just kind of looking at the evolution of the river. Going
right,
from inland ocean and the salt water. That's going to play an impact later. Um, you have the all the sediment deposits that are making independent lakes, and you're eventually going to get um, the, all the as all the lakes, these independent lakes, eventually going to keep draining to the north. Then you get the ice sheet moving from the north to the south, so you get um, like the a damming effect. And
right,
so what happens when you have all these rivers uh, hitting a immovable 2 mile high ice sheet,
right.
and it all backs up into carves out valleys as it starts moving laterally. I'm trying to find where.
I'm actually apparently Virgil, who is joining us from Manchester, England, across the Atlantic Sea. I was going to go into that whole song. That's cool. Um, he had as a question. Just post it in chat, and I will see it in the chat, and then I will definitely ask the question to Mark. But yeah, John brings up something very important. Carves out a cave system. Do you think this is the main reason why there is a cave system in? I mean, it's not only West Virginia; it goes down into Kentucky, and it gets into some other parts. Even in Pennsylvania, has a huge cave system there. Is this the
Penn's,
reason
like
why? Because
Penn's Cave. Well,
right,
and you also get deposit all the sediment deposits on top of water flow under the deposits as well. So
right, and then does this
ma-
this goes from ice? This goes from a glacier into, I guess it melts into an ocean. Then you get a swamp or
you
a bog,
huge lake, and
and
that
then huge lakes.
like right there. So in the ice, see, the ice sheet was there at the top of the page. So and it just all backed
Right.
up, and we're like New Martinsville is over here.
Do you
Eh,
think because of the backup, it created the environmental conditions that you have currently in West Virginia that also added to the coal industry, and also now I think fracking's big in your neck of the woods.
Oh
Um,
yeah, the plants die along the shorelines for like millions of years.
right,
They decay, get covered up with mud. Uh,
right.
so that's your basis for fossil fuels. And I
So
have. Oh, go
I
ahead.
mean, no, you must have had tons. I mean, in your research, did you find a ton of fossils that were being found?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
how come they don't give credit to that area of the Upper Ohio River, the
Yeah.
West Virginia area? Instead, they look west
Yeah.
to some of the other
Yeah.
mounds and see you later, West Virginia. How come they didn't do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. See that's where a, a, a lot of these like sea scorpions, kind of like a prehistoric lobster type
Right,
critter. Um, those were found in the area, and they were mainly found in um, like coal mining activity. The Linton coal mine was obviously a coal mine, and
Right.
yeah, there was a lot of the like the coelacanth minnows. I have
Right.
some photos, and I just don't want to keep flipping through the book.
I
But
mean, again, I'm going to reiterate in the book. Hey Val, um, Mark backs up his research by going to the very areas that he's talking about and taking you on a visual journey, so you understand why this is so important. There's a
uh,
lot of this is going on in the world where people are just disregarding certain points of you know that are important. I mean, if it wasn't for the glacier and as Mark said, the damming of it, and then the creation of an ecosystem with the seawater, then
the,
the swamp. I mean, you know you wouldn't have the coal mining industry. You wouldn't have the animals coming in. You said coelacanth, but I'm sure. What about a mastodon or
the
larger
mastodon.
dinosaur?
Yeah, the mastodons would be much later. But eh, did the inland sea have um, uh, is the inland sea an explanation for why uh, th- there was a salt industry in the 1800s, but before that, are the different megafauna coming to the area for basically like salt licks, and
Right. You know,
people.
it's
Go ahead.
I'm going to throw something in. I'm going to throw something interesting that is coming out, and a lot of you people that are online, if you're on TikTok and some of the other social media apps. By the way, I did get banned once again on TikTok, and so did my good friends, brothers of the Arcana. So Eric, your videos aren't up anymore, nor are mine. But it seems to be coming down hard on people. But in relationship to the salt licks and salts that are being used by the thoroughbreds and horses, apparently, Mark's going to love this because he talks about a huge wiener. It makes your wiener huger in very ways. So maybe that's your business end of it. Stop writing books and start selling West Virginia salt, which could be good. Eric likes that idea. I think it's a great idea. Get your sample today.
But here, here's y- you know, uh, very uh, well-known book
Right.
by the esteemed John Strong Newberry from uh, you know, uh, like the Ohio State University Geological Survey of Ohio. But he does mention Linton here on page
Yeah, but
45.
it's how much of a mention. It's almost like a gas station on the way to a final
But
destination, right? So
yeah, he's just does talk about the teeth. There are, however, among the specimens from Linton, some teeth which seem to share the characteristics of the two species, and it may be found that they run into each other. Several jaws have been obtained at Linton to which the teeth of Diplodocus are still attached. So you get these kind of like uh, uh, I think that Diplodocus is kind of like a shark kind of
right,
uh, animal. So what's going on there with okay, you're gonna find out millions of years later is Howard Cosell's talking about the Ohio River. Why do you have like these pioneering researchers talking about like shark teeth being found in the area? So I think that's you know really a fascinating topic is the evolution of the Ohio River. What all these like uh, salamanders, the sea scorpions, these
Right.
xanacanth sharks being found there. Um, you're not near an ocean.
Well,
Why do you have these like freshwater sharks? What's going on? So looking at so I think these people who were coming to the area maybe serving in some function as an engineer or working in some manner with the emerging fossil fuel industry or finding a lot of these creatures that we would not, most people are going to say, "Oh, sharks were in the Ohio River." Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but this is the reason why we're doing this is to show you the importance that I think we've all been lied to by scientists or the Smithsonian, and it's basic pay to play. So all the barons that have all the money and are digging, the coal and whatever, they don't want you to know about this because if you know that there's an important factor in West Virginia and how it relates to what took place in the area, then they wouldn't be allowed to do what they're doing. So they're not going to let you do that. And Eric agrees. By the way, we're going to be doing something tonight too. This is a little bit risky for me, but why not? Because it's the 4th of July and it's all about freedom and liberty. We're going to have people, if you're in chat and you want to ask Mark a question, I'm going to bring you in to the show. So no, I'm suspicious of the Smithsonian all the time. Um, you know, it's just something very interesting because Mark is taking research and you're doing a series. How many books do you think this series is going to be? And do you think academia is going to pick it up as the other anthropologists are going to go start looking into this? Could you be giving birth to something that's really huge?
I think so. Like I said, people like um, Dr. Newberry in the 1870s spent a lot of time here. Um, he helped to identify all kinds of animal and plant species a little later on. Some of the T-Rexes are found in Wyoming, and everyone goes out there to um, see the you know bigger and better things. But the researchers who kind of cut their teeth here in the Upper Ohio Valley, uh, really helped to pioneer the study of fossilized plants and people or animals. I'm sorry, and the people would come much later. But then there's the Meadowcroft Rock Shelter, who has been really helpful in this series as well, where they really all the museums I worked with were really very encouraging and supportive. Even uh, you will see in part two where the Smithsonian really was very helpful with um, uh, finding documents for me and give me permission to print them, so or make copies of them for the publication. So
S-
um,
So,
yeah,
so somebody at the Smithsonian had a conscience and decided to take
mhm,
part in something important. Um, and one more
yeah.
thing, we do have a Virgil's question is here that he's been asking about. So I'm going to put it up, and it says, and this is Virgil Kane. If me and Stormy Daniels had a child together, what would our descendants look like in a million years? That's a great question
Um,
because what would anybody's descendants look like in a million years?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure they would be humanoid looking.
They could be humanoid looking, but we don't know.
No.
Well, we do have
Yeah,
a
good.
physicist in the audience. He's right
Good.
there. They
Um,
would look. Do you think they would look like us, or there'd be enhancements? Maybe the atmosphere is something's wrong with the atmosphere, so maybe our lungs or chest develops more.
um, could be. I did. I don't know. We probably still look like you were made in our image. That it's one of the early passages in the Bible. I don't think we've changed
Right.
that much. So it's kind of like from the start of creation to now, and going from now to uh Virgil's descendants might be the same length of time. um
Do you think they
I
would be
don't
taller? Because over the years, humanity has increased in height.
what
That's what I've
well
learned. I mean,
you also have during um uh environmental problems like was it the younger Dryas, when it cooled down after a warming up period. um you do have the examples of animals uh becoming smaller.
um, Bar-
So
Barbara comes in with a great answer, which I'm laughing my ass off with. She says, it's Stormy Daniels for G's sakes. Of course, the chest and lungs will be bigger. Yes, it would be bigger. I would just think that over, considering the evolution of humanity over periods of time, and frankly, the period of time we're talking about from even from the, hey, Rob, even from when it started glacial to the rivers flowing um, to what we have currently, you think it's a long period of time, but on the greatness of the universe or the existence of this planet, it's like a pimple, you know. And John says food chain supply affects the growth. Yes, but if, as we've been talking, we started out as a glacier, so that brings in minerals, correct? Minerals
Yep.
and some salt water. Then you get more brackish water. Then you get
Yep.
a bog or a swamp, and then that eventually starts to dry out a bit.
Yeah, drains and get fresh ice water melting. And
And then the
so
animals come in because it
yeah.
grows fauna, and then animals die. They turn into oil. The Arabs buy the oil. Sorry, I was chanting a little bit of airplane. Um, we're gonna get Eric's thing in here, and Eric says life could have existed on Mars for 1 billion years, as we are, aka bipedal or apes, but that billion years is so much more than life as us being existent on Earth, as for example, apes and bipedal are said. I hope that is not on the final, Eric. Eric right now is at an actual observatory, and I'm just going to throw that out there. We're going to do a show from that, and we're going to hook up the telescope to the show, and we're going to actually have people, tell people where and what they would like to see. And I think we're going to be able to dial that in, if I'm correct, Eric.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah, yeah. Those observatory shows, can be
Yeah, they could be
very,
very.
yeah. Like, what are some of the different uh, phenomena going on?
Well,
It's all
in
observable
right.
unless it's cloudy.
Well, I starred this, but Woo Rider comes in with new interstellar object seen coming into our solar system at a
Hmm.
fast speed. That's pretty impressive. I would say that that's gotten my attention. But anybody, including Eric and everybody in here, if you want to come in, put in your comment, be nice. I'm giving you a link to the back end of the show, and I'll see you pop up, and then I'll add you to the stream, and maybe Mark could actually ask some questions. You can ask him questions. He can give you answers, global clusters and nebulas, and much, much more. Wow, it sounds like a cereal. That sounds like a description for some kid's cereal.
But but wait,
Yeah,
there's more,
yeah.
and there's
There we go. Hey,
wormwood.
Kelly. Did you say wormwood?
Yeah, that's could be one of the celestial objects heading this way. It was predicted in the Bible.
Yeah, that was one thing that was predicted. Um,
Sitchin predicted, was it Nibiru? Yeah, so
yes,
is this what Eric is discussing? Is that uh, making, or are those objects making their way through the solar system? It'd be interesting to get his perspective on what's being seen at his observatory.
Eric Wormwood, and we know what wormwood becomes. Absinthe, and yes, it is awesome at times. Um, Eric makes a great point. Evolutionary biology suggests that certain apes branched off many years ago and became dolphins. Does anybody want to do a dolphin call, in my opinion? Oh, we have somebody. Device not connected. It says device not connected. I don't know why device is not connected. Let's see. Try going out and coming back in. And let's see. Oh, you got to connect your mic and camera before you can come in. So go back out or connect your mic and camera, and then we'll bring you in, and you could ask the question. And I hope I'm not doing something that's going to kill me, but I took a cue from BMR, who did a call-in show, and I came in as Emma Nempton, which is not my name backwards. So surprise them because I didn't want any type of favor. But if we get them to come back in, it'll be great. Mars is now a chilled planet internally, unlikely to populate well. I look at how to make Venus friendly. Again, BIMMJIM. It says here you need to connect your mic and cam before you can add them to the stream. So I don't know why they're not allowing you into the stream, but if I could take a picture, I would show it to you to show you. So do you think, and I think, Barbara, I think you're mentioning something about other stuff falling from the sky with the woo stuff, but do you think any of the stuff that took place in the upper Ohio River Valley had to do with, asteroids or comets dropping dust in the area and helping to grow
So,
things?
what was the cause of the? You get the warming period that's melting most of the glaciers, and then there was a cooling period.
Right.
What
I mean,
why was there kind of like this global catastrophe going on with about what was it, like 12,000 BC?
right.
Yeah, was it uh, uh, the pole shift? Was it something? Could an asteroid have um, hit the Earth? Knocked it out of alignment. The poles out of alignment. I I think that question has a lot of validity. Um,
This is interesting.
Maybe we just don't know, but we cannot rule out her question.
Yeah. Well, Virgil comes back with another one. Do humans and camels have a common ancestor? And while we're looking
I
at
don't
that,
know.
um, I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I couldn't tell you if
Yeah,
some part of each of the DNA or what is currently a human and a camel. I mean, there is a huge resemblance to humanity in mushrooms, by the way. So I mean, a camel wouldn't be that far off. Yeah, there's been a bunch of extinction events. I'm
hmm
trying to get Randall Carlson on here, brother
oh,
Randall Carlson, Eric.
he's a good one.
Yeah, he's really good. Wayne and Michelle had him on. Unfortunately, uh, no problem, Barbara. It was just you have to plug in or use a microphone, and I don't know how you were doing it. So, but it goes back to the amoeba. John says. I think. I mean, but this is the important stuff, and with scientists creating the narrative that other scientists are basing their research off of, and disregarding certain parts of the research. Um, you know, and West Virginia. It seems like everybody said, "Oh, the heck with West Virginia." Um, you know, um, it's not right. We're gonna find out. I mean, I still would. There we go. Let's see. We're gonna add. There we go. You're in the. You are here. Welcome.
Hello there. Can you hear me now?
Hi.
Hello. We
Yeah.
can hear you, Jim.
Oh, great. Yeah, I just had to get some of my buttons pushed properly. I got her done. Okay, you even got a picture of me. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of camping in my life. Now, okay, you're talking about the evolution of the human species. Now, this comes into my area of knowledge and study and so on. And we know very little for sure. See, it's very difficult to predict this, where our evolution will go. I've wondered about it and so on. And one fact I do know is that the Homo sapiens cranium volume has been going down since Cro-Magnon. Cro-Magnon, about 10,000 years ago, had a significantly larger brain volume, significantly by maybe 4 or 5%, something like that. It's measurable in the record, in the
Right.
fossil record. It's measured, and we know that as a fact. Okay, so our brain
Right.
volume has been going down. We know that much. Now, what else we know? I don't know. We don't know a hell of a lot more about where our genetics is going. I followed the Human Genome Project back in 2002. It was finished at that time, and they discovered some very peculiar things that were almost impossible. Like, they discovered at that time that we humans have a small number of genes. We only had about 20,000 genes, but they expected to find 40 or 50,000 genes actually coded for in the DNA, our DNA, but there were less than half of what they thought. Now, the only explanation I have for that is that the human species went through a bottleneck, as did some other animals. There's the cougar. No, what's that fast cat in Africa?
There are a lot of fast cougars
Um,
out there.
the cheetah.
Cheetah. Yeah, the
Right.
cheetah also went through a bottleneck, and they have a small genome, right?
Right.
They have very little diversity within their genome. And that's very dangerous for a species because they could be wiped out by a disease or something like that, or one change or something could wipe them out. And we humans are in that same kind of predicament where our lack of biodiversity could end our species. It's quite a serious deal, as far as we know. But you see, that's the thing, is the science on all of this is very indefinite. It's
Right.
there's far more unknown than known in this area of the genome and how it goes through time and so on. So there's a lot of mysteries in that, but I certainly cannot predict what we will look like in 1,000 years or whatever time period you want to name. I do work on like I've taken courses in climate science. I'm originally an engineer, then I took
Right.
courses in climate science and many other things. And what I'm concerned about right now is how we are going to cause our own extinction, because we're working as hard as we can to exterminate ourselves in so many different ways. I mean, my goodness, it's terrible. And so that's kind of my job. I'm an environmental engineer, and so I take courses and study all these
Wait,
things that are related
but
to what.
yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is the point. You've been studying this for a while. Mark has been studying. I mean, it's not just this book, you know. There are a couple of books coming out thereafter. And my point is, how much of the real information has been hidden purposely from, you know, your studies and Mark's studies and research, but that would change or give you, like, it's that aha moment, and you're like, oh my god, if we knew about this, we can pin X to Y Z P Q and get a better answer to it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Well, the reason I'm on your show is because I'm also into the paranormal. I've met different kinds of aliens, and
Oh,
I've come to the conclusion that I work for the aliens. And when I realized, when I learned more and more about the aliens, I realized that my values are their values, and their morals are like my morals. So I'm primarily, when I was 31 years old, I went back to university and studied environmental engineering, became an environmental engineer because I could see all the stuff that's going on. I mean, we're killing the global ocean at the same time that we're causing climate change, but
right.
it was going to change anyway. I'm not a hardcore doomer or anything like that. I'm actually
Right.
in a faction of climate science people who I support climate engineering. And I've worked very hard on that and read all the different hypotheses and studies and everything on that subject. And I think we should be at least doing large experiments in climate engineering, because if we don't go into what do they call it, the Venus effect or global warming extreme, if we don't go into that, we'll go into the next ice age, and we won't like that either. That will not be very nice either.
Right.
So what do you want? You want an ice age, or you want the oceans boiling away, or but we should be doing experiments in climate engineering, because we're not going to like whatever happens. We're not going to like it very much. It's not going to be good for our species.
Well, what did you say that, when you get into the chemtrails, that they are experimenting with climate engineering, with all the metals
No,
put into the atmosphere to block?
no. I've never found any good science on chemtrails. Zero.
Right.
No valid science on chemtrails anywhere. Contrails, yes, I understand contrails, because
Right.
it's a little bit complicated. The science of contrails, which means condensation trails, are a little
Right.
bit complicated. You have to understand thermodynamics. You have to understand phase diagrams and all this stuff. And I know all that stuff. I've gone through all of that stuff. I know all about it. So, I know that, for example, a condensation trail can form on the top of a mountain if the mountain peak is very pointed and the
Mm-hmm.
and the percent humidity is just in the right range, and a wind blows past the top of the pointed mountain, you get a condensation trail coming off the peak of the mountain. There's no airplanes or anything involved. It's just all thermodynamics and phase changes and phase diagrams and all that stuff. That's what causes that. But the people who are proponents for this, what they call chemtrails,
Right.
they have no science behind them. Not I haven't found one of them who has a degree in anything, and I'll
No,
certainly
no,
I will
I agree
engage.
with you.
Yeah,
I
like
agree with you 100%. But one caveat I put in there, if this is being done on a top secret level or something, um, none of the scientists involved in it would be allowed to be. They would have signed an NDA, and they couldn't speak on it. They do have
yep,
images of planes, loaded up with what looks like barrels of chemicals, and they're seeing them being sprayed, creating the chemtrails. They do samples. Some scientists have done samples, but if you're working as a scientist, um, most scientists work out of universities or government. I
hmm
mean, I'm pretty correct on that.
yep,
And that would be shooting yourself in the foot to say, hey, we've been poisoning this planet for X amount of years.
hmm
You wouldn't kind of do it. I don't think anybody would let you do it either.
Well,
So
what I do in my research, I'll go down various rabbit holes,
right.
uh, and I've done this for the chemtrails, and I'll go down that rabbit hole until I find something good, some good evidence, something for me to waste my time going down that rabbit hole, and
Agreed.
I could not find that in the chemtrail people. I mean, it's a group of people. They gotta, and if they have any real scientists, well, why don't they put up a scientific paper or a lecture by a real scientist in proper scientific language? Because I use scientific language as one of my filters, and I'm
Right.
fully conversant. It's a different language. And I hear somebody talk and using a whole bunch of science words, and they don't even speak the language. I know right away, and I kick them out. Like, because there's so many rabbit holes, I got to have these filters. And that's one of my best filters is soon as I hear non-scientific language, but a person using a whole bunch of science words and pretending they know what they're
Yeah.
talking about, if they don't, I'm kicking them out one after the other. I can't pursue
Right.
all these things. But I'll tell you,
I
using
agree with you on that.
well,
Yep.
I use superior method. I have given lectures on methodology, but I certainly don't claim to know everything. In fact, what I've discovered is our our my our current establishment science is very, very small, and I'm very critical of our current theoretical physics. That's supposedly the top science, so I study that. Got interested when I was in college in general relativity, and so I know a little bit about theoretical physics now. And the top guy, in my opinion, my favorite guy in theoretical physics is Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb. He was the head of a department of physics of a top university, and he's the guy who saw the Oumuamua data and said,
Oh, okay.
you know, yeah, he's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Oumuamua guy, right? That
Okay.
guy
That's why it
is
sounded familiar, but I'm just trying to figure. Like I know the name, but I
Ave
can't put
Loeb.
it.
Yeah, I'm seriously into the science, and I'm very critical of bad science, including our current theoretical physics. I think is very messed up, and Ave Loeb is the best guy. He said the same thing I said. but I think I said it before he did. What I said, I made this comment over and over again till somebody understood what the hell I'm talking about. My comment is that humans have been doing science for 400 years since Galileo, but the universe is 14 billion years old. And
Exactly.
you have to write those numbers down on
It,
a piece of
it's
paper and read them and compare the two of them. Now, there's another fact you add in there, which is that there's 10 to the 22 habitable planets in the universe according to our current knowledge. So according to our current most advanced science, there's 10 to the 22 habitable planets in the universe. Now, yeah, that's and we only know of all that 10 to the 22 planets,
right.
habitable planets, we know that there's only one of them that has spacefaring species, and that's Earth. We know that the Earth is the only one of 10 to the 22 planets who has now left the planet. Now, how
Right.
likely the probability of that happening is minuscule and absurd, and yet that is what our establishment science believes today. And
Right.
Avi Loeb has pointed this out, the absurdity of it. The absurdity of this idea that there are no more alien species out there is just, it's ridiculous. And this is a huge mistake that our current establishment scientists make.
Right.
You know, it is just,
And
it's absurd. And Avi Loeb is the only one who I've heard who has spoken this and challenged establishment science, or academic science, if you want to call it that. So now, and what I know from my paranormal experiences, I've got all kinds of knowledge from there, and I do it in a very scientific way. So I say to everybody, and this is actually my main message that I would like to get out on your show here is,
sure.
please go and look. I've been telling people, go look in the place where I looked, and where I find portals. I've been through portals about 20 times. And in addition to all my other paranormal experiences, including meeting aliens and so on, I've been through these portals at least 20 times. And people like to talk about portals, and I say, well, how would you like to go through one for yourself?
Yeah.
Just look at my playlist and make a comment, and we'll have a conversation. And if I can find somebody who will actually go and do, I will give them full instructions on how to do it and all this stuff. And like I say, I've been through the portals over 20 times. I've met other people here who have found the same portals that I found. And although they don't know what they're doing, but I first went through the portals in 1983. So I was like, 34 years old, something like that, the first time I went through. I met a guy here who's about 20 now, and he has been through the portals with a friend of his. So I know what I have experienced is true. I know it is. I've met other people here who've done it. And the young guy who did it, he's a mountain biker, and he went through the portals with another friend of his in a quad. And I've always gone through these portals on some kind of a vehicle, dirt bike, 2 pickup trucks, and a 4x4, my various vehicles that I've owned since 1983, as I say. Now, okay, so I'm like Galileo now. I'm right where Galileo was 400 years ago, when he was going around telling people, anybody, please look through my telescope, man. Just look through the telescope. That's all. That's about all I'm asking you to do, is look through the friggin' telescope. Don't argue with me. I'm amazed how many people want to start an argument with me over this.
I know, and that's a major problem in this whole entire. When you get into the paranormal field, and that encompasses everything, cryptids, whatever. As a person who's been in the field numerous times, I did study physics and astronomy. I did not continue with it because I didn't want to work for other people, and I don't want people taking my stuff. But I've experienced in relationship to cryptids, points where you're walking, you're in the woods looking for them in an area that you know has them, and you get to a point where it just stops. The wind stops, everything stops. Technically, I believe that I've been through portals, and they're not they're not open constantly. These were created, and either it was created and used, and this is the remnants, and it's slowly, closing back into our regular time space. It is the
Mhm.
weirdest experience in the world, and I always tell people who investigate, yeah, Eric said silence. It's eerily silent. But
Yeah.
something that I did notice, and I take with me, is a Geiger counter, because there is a radiation signature, in my opinion, from my experience, when portals are opened and when they close. And if
Mm.
you can start seeing the radiation fluctuating, there may be a good shot that you're coming upon a former portal or a current portal. But that's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
I
Well,
find it
yeah.
interesting you've gone through the portals.
Yeah.
We're going to
Oh,
send
yeah.
Mark in like 2 weeks through a portal.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
done. Well, I camped on the other side of the portals. I camped over there for up to 3 days. I don't think I ever last more than 3 days. It gets spooky. It gets weird. And
Yes,
and
it
then I
does.
then I have to come home again. And
Right.
if you remember, I said, come home, go home. That's how you get out of a portal, because some people actually go through a portal and got stuck on the other side and they never come back. So they're basically dead in this universe. Now I have certain terminology that I use when I talk about portals and stuff. Like you mentioned that phenomenon where sound is suddenly gone.
Yep.
Everything's quiet. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So some people call that the Oz effect, OZ. Why, I don't know. That's their terminology. I've experienced it many times. Not so much associated with portals. In fact, I'm
Right.
thinking not so much so. Not no, I can't connect those two things together. However, I think they are related, and the big thing that ties a lot of this stuff together is consciousness and
Oh, yeah.
and the consciousness spectrum, I call it. Now, that's my own term, consciousness spectrum. But the
Right.
reason I say that is because the Russians did a very empirical, repeatable experiment in consciousness. And the results of their experiment demonstrate clearly that communication mind to mind is possible. It does happen. And also that it's transmitted by a spectrum. It's not the EM spectrum, not at all. And a lot of people talk about vibrations and frequencies and all that. I don't use that language because I think that they're missing the point, which is that there's another spectrum. So now we have the EM spectrum. Well, we have the sound spectrum first, then the EM, then we have the gravity spectrum. We now have establishment science making gravity telescopes. Now
Right.
that's beyond the EM spectrum. And what I am saying, this is my own from my own evidence, is that there is a consciousness spectrum, and that's how we do telepathy. So I've been doing telepathy since I was 20 years old,
Yeah.
and I do it all the time. I've tested it hundreds of times. I've tested telepathy. Uh,
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been doing this since as young as I can remember. I
mhm,
do it with my I've been playing around with it with my children, and it
mhm,
does work. You're
mhm.
talking to them, and like, did you just call me? Like, you get that.
Yep.
But because this, you're getting into a subject that maybe we'll actually have to have you come back on, and we'll get others to come back. Like Eric in chat is a physicist. He's the real deal.
Mhm.
And you know, you, it's called quantum tunneling, and basically they're researching now how consciousness and communicating with
Yep.
your consciousness,
Yep. Hmm.
there's no end to where it goes.
Yeah, I'm
So
familiar with all
yeah.
of that. quantum theory and relating it to quantum theory. I'm
Ju-
fully aware of all of that, but
yeah,
I want them to look through my telescope. You go
Right.
through those portals and you come back and give me your theory, because I have a hypothetical model that I've constructed from my own experience from looking through the telescope, as I mentioned, as Galileo did. And
Right.
this new model, which includes the consciousness spectrum, it does away with quantum theory entirely. And there are three or four top theoretical physicists. These people are in the top 50 easily, who say that quantum theory is wrong. They say that quantum mechanics is wrong, and I agree with them. I think it's a pretty much a load. And I'll tell you that over 99% of people who start talking about quantum theory do not understand it, have no idea. And I get that information directly from the few people who do understand quantum theory.
Right.
It's a small number on the planet Earth who really understand quantum theory. It's highly mathematical. I put some hard work into general relativity, which I enjoy very much. But when
Right.
I tried to study quantum theory, I had to say, no, I don't have a 170 IQ. That's what it said. You need a minimum 170 IQ to
Well,
do quantum
I,
theory.
I,
And
yeah.
so I'm not a big fan of quantum theory. And like I said, over 99% of the people start talking quantum theory language have no idea. I guarantee you they have no idea what they're talking about. And not that I do, but I'm sure
Right.
they don't. And that comes from the real quantum physicists. They say, yeah, well, they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, people don't even understand the Schrodinger cat thought experiment. I do. I do understand that.
Right.
It's a joke. And what people don't know about that is that the Schrodinger's cat thought experiment was made up as a joke by one of Schrodinger's students. Okay, Schrodinger's student wrote the joke, and it was meant as a joke. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It is only a thought experiment. It can't be done. That's
Right.
that's part of the joke, right?
Yeah.
And the student made fun of Schrodinger, their professor, which we did when I was in school too. I mean, we had professors, we made fun of them sometimes. That's what it was. It was a flippin' joke. And now, but so many people take it seriously and think that it indicates that the quantum realm or the quantum effects can be expanded into the macro. But that is not what quantum theory says. Quantum theory does not say that. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
Right.
But all the see, so I don't. I try to use empirical language when I've done lectures. I've tutored from high school up to maybe I can tutor up above maybe second or third degree university. I would like to give more lectures in some things I know, like in anthropology. I've given lectures in that, and they've been very well received. I've given lectures in methodology to a room full of people with degrees, and they give me a big applause at the end of it. So I know some things, and I don't know other things. But
and now you've been on Bryan's show.
I can judge bullshit, man. I've got a bullshit detector that works extremely well.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of us, that have that. But I want to thank you very much for coming back on. And if you contact us at the email address that scrolls across the bottom, love to get you on, and we'll talk to you and get you on some more. Maybe we'll have a dueling scientists match.
Absolutely. I
with
would
Eric
love
and you
a
and
debate.
Mark. And yeah. But
I'm
actually,
really
Eric,
good. I'm really good at scientific debate. It's part of my
Right.
job. It's a very important part of my job to do
Yeah,
that.
Jim, do you think is there an overlap between your research into your experiences with portals and your research into uh, y- the environment, climate that you started off your discussion with?
Well, I really separate the two. When I'm on, I've been on StreamYard with groups of doomers. These are people who believe that we will be extinct in 12 years, but they started believing that 14 years ago, and they don't understand the conflict there. But so I debate them against them. And so when I'm doing that kind of science, I just do straight science. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a paradigm. I have two primary paradigms. One is science, and the other one is actually the indigenous knowledge, the pre-writing knowledge. These are my two paradigms, and
Oh.
I tell people this straight out, because I don't want people dragging in, like, I don't drag in information from any of the old writings,
Right.
all of them, Bible, wherever you want to go, whatever, Book of the Dead, I don't give a damn. I don't take any of that information in. It's only, so I have these two paradigms. One is science, and the other one is the indigenous knowledge, the knowledge of the indigenous people, where I learned a tremendous amount. And like, oh gosh, there's so many connections. Like, I one day was out tracking animals, and I had an experience where I was suddenly seeing through time, and I'm looking at what I'm seeing. I know I'm looking through time, and it was quite an experience. I actually experienced it. And then later, I was listening to the Bushmen, and they can do the same thing at will, and they use it to help them catch food when they're animal tracking. The Bushmen do
Yep.
it when animal tracking. It happened to me when I was animal tracking. So I think of the physics implications of that, and I've studied time quite a lot as well. And
Yep.
yeah,
One of the experiments I have people do is you can manipulate time. Usually, you can do it when you're traveling from point A to point B, like a universal spot. Like kids are going from their house to their grandmother's house. It normally takes 30 minutes, and you can literally, using your mind and your consciousness, send it out into the universe and say, I want to do it in 20, or I want to do it in 15. And if you keep playing with that, thinking it and wanting it, a lot of times it comes to fruition. And that's manipulating time,
you
and
mentioned
seeing time.
intent,
Intent is
intent,
everything.
intent in the
Right.
mind,
Is.
intent. That's
Hmm.
a lot of people come to that same conclusion, and I did also after a lot of my experiences and experiments with going through portals. Is you must have intent in your mind, because
Yes.
if you don't, it won't work. It's part of the
Right.
whole deal. I don't know exactly how, but many people mention this intent,
It's
including Chris Bledsoe and diverse people
the most
talk about
important
intent.
part of anything in science, and in doing this and expanding, is your intent.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the correct intent, you're not going to get the results that you want. And then you're going to debunk it and say, oh, this is all horse hockey. But because you didn't have the fortitude to have the right intent going in there. See, you're aware of these things, so you know where the intent is. It's, you know it's basically baptism by fire that you've been through, and you're telling people. But a lot of people, like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to deal with you. I'll do it my way. Well, you're not going to have the experience.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
all about intent. And then when you come across beings or entities that live in a different, you know quantitative field, or whatever it is, or dimension, or timeline, and you come up against them and you don't have the proper intent, they're just going to dismiss you. You're never going to see them.
Hmm.
So it's just fascinating stuff. I thank you very much, Jim. Just contact us at the show. We'll get you back on, and I'll see if Eric will come on, and we'll have a big old
I
powwow, so we don't
love.
melt skulls for the rest of the. We have about 10 more minutes left, and but I do appreciate you coming in and taking my offer to come into, you know, comment on the show. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thanks very much. See you
Thank
again.
you, Jim.
You
Okay,
got
bye.
it.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
So that was great. Um, but what he's saying also refers back, and I'm going to bring it back to not the latest book, the kids' book, but it goes back to your research in here. The importance of your area, the whole Ohio River drainage. It's important. And maybe it was so important and people understood, because I think a lot of people way back when had more they grokked things better, and they knew how important it was. And maybe their intention was to purposely keep it quiet, keep the focus off of that, and say, no, no, you go west. We're going to dig here. What do you think on that? Or have you found something like that in your research?
There were discoveries, continue to be made. They just weren't really didn't make the front page.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Eh,
it's like what's his Kincaid, right? Who goes to the Grand Canyon,
finds the
finds the caves,
caves.
yep, with hieroglyphics and stones and
Eh,
multiple cultural things, and they're like, no, blow that shit up.
Yeah, that was that 1906 when Kincaid did
And
that?
I think so.
It
And,
was
I mean,
okay.
it's
Well,
still off limits today.
they get the helicopters,
Yeah, they
fly.
will not let you in there. That's why I'm sending Eric in. Only joking, Eric. Not going to
But
send you in.
here's at about the same time, I just have I don't know you're even going to talk about Kincaid's cave. This
Well,
is one
I'm
of my
just,
sources right there. It came out in 1907. Right there, 1907. Um, yeah, I think Grimsley and White's book covers some of the uh, you know local fossils. They aren't like two-headed T-Rexes or anything. It's just an understanding of the vegetation the vegetation that was growing in the area. Um, might get a little bit of seashells in that book. Um, I don't. There was not. They weren't discovering anything uh, sensational like what was in the artifacts in the Kincaid cave. I don't know if that overshadowed Grimsley and White's book that I use for a lot of the research. I just I don't I just I don't know if the local scientists were aware of the newspaper reports that were being
well,
printed in Arizona. I don't know if I can really answer. I don't know if there's really overlap
I
in
don't think
research where I can answer your question.
it's not a problem. It was just kind of like theoretical, like
Hmm.
an opinion. But I don't think at that point scientists were, I mean, scientists were doing work and trying to come up with, life's mysteries and what have you.
Hmm.
Um, but
They also
it's the
they also
competition wasn't
collaborated.
there. Well,
Yeah.
they did, and the competition wasn't there, or the money. And what happened over time is, as we've left that the 19 or 1800s, 19, you get to a point where it's all about this now, and controlling a narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to look at it, and they talk about climate change, first of all, statistics can be manipulated left and right. So let's not go there, because I can tell you that we've been voted the best new podcast this year,
Hmm.
hands down. But I don't have to tell you that there was like only 7 people that voted for it. 100% agree. Third Eye Live is
Hmm.
the best new podcast. I mean, you can manipulate that. You can't manipulate, physical, uh, you know, landmarks and, well, you know, or rivers, riverbanks, and that's where we get into the crazy, the other end of it.
No, I can assure all the viewers that you know one of our friends thought the star of the show was one of the dumbest things he's ever seen. So that's 100% support for lowering Brent's IQ. You're on mute.
I'm on mute, and I don't know how I got on mute. But I don't worry about my IQ. I know what my lowest is, and then the last time I had it, I know where it was, but they couldn't give me a number because it was over a certain number. So my lowest score I ever received, because I have all those records, was 179, and the highest score is well over 200. But they couldn't at the time give me quantify it because they didn't have the ability to do that. And it's not about that, it's I think they're people that are creative and quantitative, mathematicians, artists, musicians, women, a lot of women, using multiple hemispheres of the brain, using more percentages of the brain. Um, you have Mensa members that are digging ditches and, pulling crap out of toilets. It, it it's it's I guess at one point it was, I guess, sexy in the 70s, like, Mensa or whatever. Oh, he's really smart. You know, some people wanted a geek or whatever. Although I did meet a really attractive lady from MIT when I was going to school. I was like, maybe I'll transfer. This is a long time ago, but I was this close to transferring. But we're getting close to the end of it, and I want to thank you for coming on. I love the first book. You're gonna have to contact Mark about that. Get your copy
Hungry old
of the
critters.
Hungry Old Critters. I'm sure he'll autograph it for you. And then, if you want the real deal, the first in a series, please go pick up Lakes, Lizards, Linton, and Leverett. It's on Amazon. Mark is on a lot of shows, and I'm happy to have him here. I was happy to Craig and Chris. I never really met Austin of the Three Beards when they had me come on, and there was Mark. And one time he was wearing all white on a shirt, and he should have had like headphones that looked like Princess Leia or something, because it just would have fit perfectly. Craig would have loved it because he's a big Star Wars nerd. But I can't believe, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I wanted to discuss your book. It's a tough subject. I mean, a lot of people are just like, oh, what the hell are they talking about? But it's important when you get down to it.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from the museums and libraries that help contribute information. This isn't really. This was a team effort. Wasn't
Right.
me just reading a couple articles and putting something together. The museums, Cheryl, all these people wanted to be have better representation for the area. We just kind of been forgotten about. What we've been best known for recently is the East Palestine
Yeah.
train thing.
Debacle.
Yeah, you don't want that. And I think all the museums from basically I've been in that area researching for this, and those museums all the way down to basically the Mothman Museum and the Mansion House down just a couple blocks down the street are saying we do need to get the word about how the river has made our area unique. So it's kind of like uh, some kind of like Huck Finn inspired
Right.
journey. It's you know it was a gratifying experience working with so many people, and I'll let you, you know, we'll keep talking about the other parts of this series as they become available. Part 2 might be done fairly soon.
That'd be great. I mean, again, Mark's not just a pretty face that usually is naked in chat someplace. He is a very, he's an amazing researcher, and investigator. He knows his stuff. He's an all around, great person, and someone you definitely want to have part of your show. That's why I'm glad to have met him. You've made my life better. And
Yeah,
I
we've
appreciate
worked
you.
really well together for what, 3 years?
Yeah. I mean, with the exception of when I brought the other guy from Canada in, and Craig almost had a heart attack, which was great.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that one.
Yeah, no, he's no longer alive. But I want to thank you. I'm gonna go to my famous "Get Out of Jail Soon" card, which is the exit song. But I want to thank everybody for coming in, and I'll let you know that we may be visited by an extraterrestrial on this show. I don't know yet. I do have a friend that is an extraterrestrial and a hybrid, and maybe we'll have that individual on. But until then, enjoy your 4th of July, Mark. Don't blow shit up. Keep your digits, keep your eyes.
It's too wet here to blow anything up, so
yeah, it is a little bit too, by you it's too wet, but and just so you know, Roman candles hurt, okay? So don't have Roman candle fights. That's going out to you, Eric. Only joking, brother. Be well, God bless, and we'll have a great guest next week, because that show is going to get really, really probably effing crazy. So enjoy, Mark. I'm going to think of you drinking a rum something on my birthday and say happy birthday, America, and happy birthday, Mark.
happy 4th, everyone.
Yep. Bye.
You, it's always been you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I've seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you. True love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I will give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. I love you. God showed me you. I have been searching decades for you. I found you, I lost you. My heart is broken without you. My soul aches for you. I need you, I want you. My days are filled with you. I have seen the future with you. My home is with you. I have felt the future with you. My nights are filled with you. Love is you, true love is you. Love is you, true love is you. My happiness is you. Every past life is with you. My dreams are filled with you. Life is meaningless without you. My future is with you. I will fight for you. I will defend you. I would give up my life for you. Whatever it takes for you. Nothing else matters but you. I love you. I love you. Life is meaningless. without you. My future is with you.